3 months after the extinction of the Nethrix, Velkos Prime looked almost normal again. The gray slime had crystallized and crumbled away, leaving behind fertile soil. New cities rose where biostructures had once fed. The Velkari were rebuilding their world. But the galaxy had changed forever. Dr. Park Minho walked through the memorial gardens in New Velkos City. The Velkari had built monuments to remember their dead, but also something unexpected. In the center of the garden stood a crystal spire dedicated to the extinct Nethrix. Why? Dr. Park asked Kang Hana, who now served as governor of the rebuilt world. Because they were children once too, she replied. Before hunger made them monsters, they were just another species trying to survive. The humans taught us that even necessary killing should be mourned. The inscription on the Nethrix memorial was written in human script. They were once someone's children too. May the galaxy remember that monsters are made, not born. Dr. Park read the words and felt the weight of what humanity had done. They had not just killed the Nethrix. They had erased them completely. No survivors, no prisoners, no second chances. Do you think we were right? He asked. I think you were necessary, Kang Hana replied. My people are alive because of what you did. But I also think necessity does not make something right. It just makes it required. On Earth, the homecoming was quiet. No parades celebrated the dawn returning fleet. No crowds cheered for the heroes who had saved 2 million lives. The soldiers came home to a world that understood what they had become. President Kim Yuna met privately with each returning commander. When Admiral O entered her office, she could see the change in his eyes. He had left Earth as a military officer. He returned as someone who had committed genocide. How are the men? President Kim asked. Alive, functional, changed. Admiral O sat heavily in his chair. Dr. Song has nightmares about the nanobots. Captain Min sees Nethrix faces in crystal formations. General Lee requested transfer to a desk job. And you? Admiral O was quiet for a moment. I sleep fine, Madam President. I did what was necessary to protect children. I would do it again tomorrow if required. That may be the most frightening thing you could have said. Yes, Admiral O agreed. It probably is. Ambassador Choi returned to the Galactic Council chambers to find the entire building had changed. Security was heavier, meetings were shorter. Every alien representative looked at him with a mixture of fear and respect. The Altarian ambassador, who had once spoken of natural selection, now requested a private meeting with Ambassador Choi. Your species has become something unprecedented, the Altarian said nervously. You have shown that entire civilizations can be erased in a matter of days. We showed that monsters who eat children will be stopped, Ambassador Choi replied. Nothing more. But the implications? The implications are simple. Behave like civilized beings, and humanity will treat you as such, threaten innocence, and discover what we are capable of. The Zephyrian Council offered tribute. The Cretan Empire signed non-aggression pacts. Species that had never spoken to humans before sent diplomatic gifts. They're afraid of us, noted Dr. Song during a government briefing. Good, President Kim replied. Fear keeps children safe better than laws or treaties. But fear was not the only response. Refugee ships began arriving at Earth's borders. Species fleeing wars, famines, and disasters had heard that humans protected the innocent. They came seeking sanctuary. Captain Na Kyung-min, now in charge of refugee processing, found his facilities overwhelmed. Alien families from dozens of worlds waited for permission to enter human space. We can't take them all, he reported to President Kim. Our resources are limited. We'll make room, President Kim decided. If they're running from monsters, we have a responsibility to help them. Even if it strains our systems? Especially then, humanity's reputation as protectors must be earned every day. The refugee camps became small cities. Human teachers learned alien languages to educate refugee children. Human doctors studied alien biology to treat refugee injuries. Human engineers built homes for species they had never met before. But not all responses were positive. The Hegemony Council, an alliance of militaristic species, viewed humanity's actions as a threat to galactic order. They cannot be allowed to unilaterally decide which species live or die, declared Hegemony Admiral Vorthek during a secret meeting. Today it was the Nethrix. Tomorrow it might be us. Plans were made for preemptive strikes against human colonies. Weapons were stockpiled. Alliances were formed specifically to contain human expansion. These plans never moved beyond the discussion phase. Intelligence agencies across the galaxy had one consistent report. Humanity was preparing for the next threat. Their shipyards worked constantly. Their weapons research continued advancing. Their military forces trained for scenarios involving multiple hostile species. The message was clear. Humanity had not exhausted itself destroying the Nethrix. They had simply demonstrated their capabilities. Dr. Yoon Tai-hyun returned to his exile on Pluto carrying blueprints for weapons even more terrible than the ones used against the Nethrix. His final report to the military was classified at the highest levels. If required, the report concluded, humanity could sterilize the galaxy of all non-human life within 5 years. This capability must never be used, but its existence serves as insurance against future threats. President Kim read the report and locked it in a vault that only 3 people could access. Some knowledge was too dangerous to share, but too important to destroy. Admiral Kang Hana visited Earth 6 months after the Nethrix War. She wanted to understand the people who had saved her species by becoming monsters. She walked through Seoul's streets watching humans go about their daily lives. Children played in parks. Families shared meals. Couples walked hand in hand under cherry blossoms. They look so normal, she told Dr. Park, who served as her guide. They are normal, Dr. Park replied. That's what makes them terrifying. Any human you see on this street could help commit genocide if they believed it was necessary to protect children. How do they live with what they've done? By making sure it was worth it. Every Valkyrie child that grows up safe justifies our actions. Every refugee we save validates our choices. Every threat we deter proves we made the right decision. Kang Hana attended a memorial service for the Nethrix at Seoul's Cathedral of Species. Humans, aliens, and refugees gathered to mourn the extinct species while celebrating their defeat. We remember the Nethrix not as monsters, said the human, priest leading the service, but as a warning. They show us what any species can become when survival overrides morality. We destroyed them not from hatred, but from necessity. May we never become what we were forced to fight. The congregation prayed for the souls of the Nethrix, for the victims they had consumed, and for the humans who had been changed by the act of extinction. After the service, Kang Hana spoke with human families who had lost soldiers in the war. "Do you blame us for calling for help?" she asked one mother whose son had died during the surface extraction missions. "No," the mother replied. "My son died protecting children. There is no higher honor. But I hope your people remember what that protection cost us. We will never forget," Kang Hana promised. On her final day on Earth, Kang Hana met with President Kim. "What happens now?" she asked. "The galaxy fears you. They respect you. But they also watch you. What will humanity do with that power?" "What we have always done," President Kim replied. "We will protect those who cannot protect themselves. We will answer when children call for help. And we will be the monsters the galaxy needs us to be. Even if it makes you hated, especially if it makes us hated, fear and respect last longer than love and admiration." President Kim walked to her window, looking out at the city where aliens and humans lived side by side. The Valkyrie were not the first to call for help, and they will not be the last. Somewhere in the galaxy, another species is probably preying on the innocent right now. When their victims call for aid, humanity will answer. How will you answer? However we must, with mercy if possible, with extinction if necessary. Kang Hana returned to Velkos Prime with a heavy heart. She understood now what humanity had become. They were the galaxy's guardians, protectors who would do anything to keep children safe. They were also the galaxy's greatest threat, capable of erasing entire species when necessary. Her final report to the Velkari Council was simple. We owe humanity a debt that can never be repaid. They saved us by becoming something terrible. We must ensure their sacrifice was worthwhile by building a world worthy of their protection. In the years that followed, the galaxy learned to live with humanity's dual nature. They were saviors and destroyers, protectors and genocides, angels and demons depending on which side of their protection you found yourself. Children across the galaxy grew up hearing stories of the humans who answered desperate pleas for help. Some stories painted humans as heroes, others painted them as monsters. All of them were true. Earth's borders remained open to refugees. Earth's military remained ready for the next species that mistook kindness for weakness. And Earth's leaders carried the weight of knowing that sometimes salvation required damnation. Deep beneath Velkos Prime's surface, something ancient was dying. The Nethrix overmind had survived for 10,000 years, growing larger with each world consumed. Now it lay in crystal caves, feeling its children die one by one above. The creature was the size of a mountain, its crystalline form stretching through kilometers of underground caverns. Bioelectrical networks pulsed weakly through its body like dying stars. It had been the brain of its species, the mother of billions, the architect of conquest. Now it was alone. Dr. Park Minho sat in the medical bay of the UES Retribution, his head wrapped in bandages. The psychic contact with the overmind had nearly destroyed his mind, but the connection remained, growing stronger as the creature's desperation increased. It's trying to communicate again, Dr. Park told Dr. Song Jiwon. The thoughts are getting clearer as it gets weaker. What is it saying? Dr. Song asked. Dr. Park closed his eyes and focused on the alien presence in his mind. Images flooded through the connection. A dying galaxy where stars went out one by one, worlds covered in ice as their suns failed, ancient creatures fleeing across the void, carrying the seeds of their species. It's showing me memories, Dr. Park whispered. Their home galaxy died millions of years ago. They escaped in bioships, searching for new worlds to sustain them. That doesn't excuse eating children, Dr. Song said coldly. No, but wait, there's more. Dr. Park's face went pale. It says they didn't understand that other species were truly conscious. They thought organic life was just food that moved. The overmind pushed more concepts through the link. Ideas about consciousness, intelligence, and the terrible moment when it realized that its food was actually thinking, feeling beings. It learned too late, Dr. Park said. By the time it understood what consciousness meant, they had already consumed billions of lives. It says the weight of that knowledge has been driving it insane. Admiral O entered the medical bay. Dr. Park, can you translate for us? We need to question this creature. Dr. Park nodded weakly. Admiral O spoke, and Dr. Park transmitted the words through the psychic link. I am Admiral O Sung-ho of Earth. Why did your species not seek help instead of consuming others? The overmind's response came as a wave of alien emotions, shame, terror, and desperate loneliness. It says they tried to communicate with other species, but they were so different, so alien, that no one understood them. They were starving, and the only language that worked was consumption. Could they not eat plants, animals, non-sentient life? More alien thoughts flooded through. The overmind showed images of Nethrix biology, their need for complex neural proteins that only came from intelligent life. They were biological vampires, designed by evolution to feed on consciousness itself. They need sentient brains to survive, Dr. Park translated. They can't process other kinds of organic matter. They are parasites of intelligence. Admiral O was quiet for a moment. Tell it that understanding does not equal forgiveness. Tell it that necessity does not excuse cruelty. The overmind's response was a psychic scream of anguish. It knew it was dying, knew its species was extinct, knew that its biological imperatives had made it a monster. It's begging for something, Dr. Park said, his voice strained. Not mercy for itself, it knows it deserves to die, but it wants us to remember that they were not always monsters. It wants someone to know that they suffered too. Their children they ate suffered more, Admiral O replied. Tell it to die knowing that its species will be forgotten. The galaxy will remember only that the Nethrix were destroyed, not why they existed. This final cruelty broke something in the Overmind's ancient mind. Through the psychic link, Dr. Park felt the creature's sanity shatter completely. 10,000 years of accumulated guilt and the weight of cosmic genocide finally crushed its consciousness. But as its mind broke, the Overmind made one last desperate choice. If it was going to die, it would share its pain with the creatures that had killed it. The psychic scream that erupted from beneath Velkos Prime was felt by every human in the system. It carried the accumulated anguish of an entire species, the memory of every world consumed, every life dissolved, every moment of terrible hunger that had driven them to become monsters. On the UES Retribution, soldiers collapsed as alien grief flooded their minds. They saw through Nethrix eyes as families were dissolved alive. They felt the desperate hunger that drove a species to eat consciousness itself. They experienced the slow realization that their food was actually people. Captain Min Sora fell to her knees on her ship's bridge, tears streaming down her face. I can feel them, she whispered. All the people they ate, all the children, they're all screaming. The psychic wave lasted only minutes, but it left every human changed. They had felt what the Nethrix felt, experienced their alien perspective on consumption and survival. It did not excuse what the creatures had done, but it made their extinction feel heavier. Is it over? Asked Commander Shin Woo-jin, wiping blood from his nose. Dr. Park checked his instruments. The psychic connection was fading rapidly. The Overmind is dying, its consciousness is fragmenting, maybe 20 minutes left. Admiral O stood despite the psychic pressure still echoing in his head. Then we finish this. General Lee, prepare. A ground assault team. I want to see this creature die with my own eyes. Sir, that's extremely dangerous, General Lee Daeho protested over the communication channel. The underground caves are unstable and there might be defensive systems. I need to see it die, Admiral O said firmly. I need to know that this is truly over. The assault team consisted of the best soldiers humanity had. General Lee himself led the mission, along with Captain Na Kyungmin and Lieutenant Kwon Minji. They descended through crystal caves that pulsed with dying bioelectrical energy. The deeper they went, the stronger the psychic pressure became. Alien thoughts pressed against their minds like whispers in a language that hurt to understand. Some soldiers began bleeding from their ears. How much further? Asked Captain Na. According to sensors, we're almost there, General Lee replied. The central chamber should be just ahead. They emerged into a cavern so large that their lights could not reach the walls. In the center, illuminated by its own dying bioluminescence, lay the Nethrix Overmind. The creature was beautiful and terrible. Its crystalline form rose like a mountain of living gemstone, pulsing with fading light. Thousands of bioelectrical conduits snaked across its surface like veins of liquid starlight. Magnificent, whispered Lieutenant Kwon. It's a child-eating monster, General Lee corrected. Magnificent or not. As they approached, the Overmind's massive eyes opened. Each one was the size of a building, filled with alien intelligence and bottomless grief. It looked at the humans and spoke directly into their minds. The thoughts came as concepts rather than words. Gratitude for ending its suffering, acknowledgement that justice had been served, and something that might have been relief that its species' reign of terror was finally over. It's thanking us, said Captain Na in disbelief. It's actually thanking us for killing it. Good, General Lee replied. It should. The Overmind's thoughts became weaker as its bioelectrical systems failed. In its final moments, it shared one last image, a memory of its homeworld before the stars died, when the Nethrix were different creatures living in crystal cities under purple skies. They had been beautiful once, before hunger made them monsters, before necessity turned them into devourers of worlds, before evolution cursed them to survive by consuming consciousness itself. Then the great eyes closed and the bioelectrical networks went dark. The Nethrix Overmind, last of its kind, died in silence. Confirm termination, General Lee ordered. Lieutenant Kwon checked her scanners. No life signs. No bioelectrical activity. It's dead, sir. Then it's finished, General Lee said. The Nethrix species is extinct. They stood in silence for a moment, looking at the corpse of something that had ruled star systems. The creature that had eaten worlds now lay still and silent, its crystalline form already beginning to crack and crumble. Was it wrong of us to feel sorry for it? Asked Lieutenant Quan. No, General Lee replied. Feeling sorry for our enemies is what makes us human, but killing them anyway when they threaten children is what makes us necessary. The assault team planted charges around the cavern before they left. When the explosives detonated, they buried the Overmind's corpse under 1,000,000 tons of crystal rubble. Above ground, the last traces of Nethrix biotechnology crumbled to dust. Their breeding facilities collapsed into themselves. Their bioships, in orbit, went dark and began falling toward the planet. Admiral O watched from the UES Retribution as the final Nethrix vessel crashed into Velkos Prime's northern ocean. The impact sent up a plume of steam and crystalline fragments that sparkled like deadly snow. Species extinction confirmed, he announced to his fleet. The Nethrix are gone. Forever. Dr. Song Jiwon made the final entry in her research log. Subject: Overmind expired at 14:32 local time. Cause of death: total bioelectrical failure following nanobotic neural restructuring. Final status: Nethrix species extinct. Mission accomplished. She paused before adding her personal note. May our children forgive us for what we became to protect them. The first attack was silent. To the Velkari watching from orbit, it looked like the humans were doing nothing. Tiny containers fell from the human ships like silver rain. They scattered across Velkos Prime's atmosphere and disappeared. Admiral Kang Hana watched her tactical display with confusion. Are the humans attacking? I don't see any explosions. Officer Yim Seojin checked his sensors again. No energy signatures, no missile launches, just those small containers dispersing some kind of microscopic particles. They did not understand what they were watching. Dr. Yoon's gray swarm was designed to be invisible. Billions of nanobots, smaller than viruses, were now spreading across the planet. Each one sought Nethrix DNA with perfect precision. On the surface, the first Nethrix to encounter the nanobots felt nothing. The microscopic machines passed through their crystal shells like ghosts. They found the Nethrix nervous system and began their work. For 50 million years, the Nethrix had known no pain. Their evolution had removed that weakness. They conquered worlds through perfect coordination and fearless advance. Pain was something that happened to other species. The first Nethrix to scream was a worker drone feeding in the northern breeding facility. The nanobots had rewritten its pain receptors, turning them on for the first time in its species' history. The creature's scream was a sound of pure agony, transmitted through bioelectrical frequencies that cracked crystal formations. Then the real horror began. Because the Nethrix shared thoughts, one creature feeling pain meant all of them felt it. The agony spread through their bio-network like wildfire. 50 million voices joined in a chorus of suffering that had never existed before. Dr. Song Jiwon monitored the attack from her medical ship. Her instruments tracked the nanobots' progress across the planet. Perfect dispersal pattern, she reported. All Nethrix bioforms are now infected. How long until full effect? Asked Admiral O over the communication channel. The nanobots work, slowly. 3 days for complete neural rewriting. 4 days for total system breakdown. 5 days for death. Dr. Song paused. They will be conscious and aware for all of it. Admiral O was quiet for a moment. And they will feel each other's pain the entire time? Yes, sir. 50 million individuals experiencing collective agony. It may be the most terrible death in galactic history. Good, Admiral O said coldly. Maybe next time a species considers eating children, they will remember what happened to the Nethrix. Colonel Baek-jun led the first rescue mission to Velkos Prime's surface. His Marines dropped into the southern cities where Velkari civilians were still hiding. The mission was dangerous. They had to extract survivors while avoiding contact with dying Nethrix. Remember, Colonel Baek told his troops, Velkari lives are the priority, but do not take unnecessary risks. If you must choose between saving 10 Velkari and ensuring one Nethrix dies, the Nethrix death takes priority. Sergeant Kang Minsu's squad landed in the ruins of Velkos City. The Nethrix had partially consumed the downtown area, leaving behind twisted metal structures that looked like metallic bones. Velkari survivors hid in the remaining buildings. Velkari civilians. Sergeant Kang broadcast on all frequencies. This is Human Rescue Force. We are here to help. Stay calm and follow our instructions. The response was immediate. Velkari families emerged from hiding places, tears streaming down their faces. They had survived 6 months of horror, watching their world being eaten piece by piece. "Thank you," said an elderly Velkari named Fik Sunun. "We thought everyone had forgotten us." "Humans do not forget children in danger," Sergeant Kang replied. "But we need to move fast. The Nethrix are changing." Indeed, the Nethrix on the streets were behaving strangely. Instead of their usual coordinated movements, they stumbled and writhed. Some clawed at their own crystal shells. Others lay curled in tight balls, making sounds that might have been screaming. Dr. Park Jinwoo, the squad's medic, watched a dying Nethrix with clinical interest. "The nanobots are working faster than expected. Look at how it moves." The creature that had once moved with perfect grace now thrashed like a broken machine. Its bioelectrical network, overwhelmed by pain signals, was shutting down. But the process was slow, ensuring maximum suffering. "Is that crying?" asked Private Osuji. Dr. Park listened to the sounds coming from the Nethrix. "I don't think they have tear ducts. But if they did, yes, I think it would be crying." The rescue operations continued for 2 days while the Nethrix died around them. Captain Minsora's bomber squadrons deployed additional bioweapons to speed the process. Her bombs contained viral agents designed specifically for Nethrix biology. "Target the breeding facility," she ordered her pilots. "Priority is the larvae. We cannot allow any of them to mature." The bombing runs were surgical and precise. Each bomb contained agents that crystallized Nethrix biology at the molecular level. The larvae in their feeding pools began turning to stone, their crystal shells becoming tombs. The adult Nethrix trying to protect their young became living statues in moments. They crystallized mid-flight, their forms frozen in positions of desperate protection. The sight was beautiful and horrifying at the same time. Commander Shin Woo-jin coordinated refugee extraction from the UES Retribution. Thousands of Velkari were brought aboard human ships every hour. Medical teams treated injuries and trauma while trying to prepare them for what they would witness. "Many of them want to watch the Nethrix die," Commander Shin reported to Admiral O. "They want revenge for what was done to their families." "Let them watch," Admiral O replied. "But make sure they understand what they are seeing. We are not heroes today. We are necessary monsters." The Velkari survivors did watch. They saw humans weeping as they deployed weapons of mass destruction. They saw Marines crying while loading bioacid bombs. They saw Dr. Song Ji-won break down in tears after calculating how much pain her nanobots were causing. "Why do you cry?" asked Kang Hana when she visited Admiral O on the second day. "You are saving my people." Admiral O looked out at Velkos Prime. Half the planet now glowed with the eerie light of crystallizing Nethrix. "Because we understand what we are doing. We are committing genocide. We are causing suffering beyond imagination, and we hate ourselves for it." "But you continue. Anyway?" "Yes. Because the alternative is letting the Nethrix eat more children. Because someone has to be the monster that protects the innocent." Admiral O turned to her. "Your people called for help. This is the help you got. We did not promise it. Would be clean." On the third day, the Nethrix stopped moving. The nanobots had completed their work, rewriting every nerve to maximize pain. 50 million creatures lay paralyzed, experiencing agony beyond description. Dr. Yoon Tae-hyun monitored their biosigns from his laboratory. "Neural activity is off the charts," he reported. "They are experiencing pain levels that would kill most species instantly. But I designed the nanobots to keep them alive until the final stage." "How much longer?" asked Dr. Song. 48 hours. Then their nervous systems will collapse completely. Dr. Song looked at the readouts showing Nethrix brain activity. The patterns were chaotic, desperate, alien. They are trying to communicate something. What? I'm not sure. But I think they are trying to apologize. Dr. Yoon was quiet for a moment. Too late for that. The Nethrix overmind, buried deep beneath the planet's surface, was the last to succumb. As the greatest of its species, it had the strongest bioelectrical network. It felt the pain of every other Nethrix as they died. In its final hours, the overmind tried something desperate. It reached out with its dying thoughts, seeking contact with the creatures that were killing its species. It found the mind of Dr. Park Minho, who was monitoring Nethrix communications. The psychic contact nearly drove Dr. Park insane. Alien thoughts flooded his mind, carrying concepts of cosmic hunger, ancient loneliness, and desperate need. The overmind was trying to explain, to justify, to plead for understanding. It says they were starving, Dr. Park gasped as medical teams stabilized him. Their home galaxy was dying. They had no choice but to consume. Everyone has choices, Admiral O replied when he heard the report. They chose to eat children instead of asking for help. It's asking for mercy now, Dr. Park said weakly. It says they didn't understand that other species were truly alive. Tell it that the children they ate were alive too. Tell it that mercy ended when they dissolved their first civilian. Dr. Park sent the message through the psychic link. The overmind's response was a wave of alien grief so powerful it knocked him unconscious. On the fourth day, the Nethrix began to die. Their bioelectrical networks collapsed under the strain of experiencing universal agony. One by one, 50 million voices fell silent. The humans watched their xenocide with heavy hearts. They had done something necessary and terrible. They had saved the Velkari by becoming monsters. Is it over? Asked Captain Minsora. Almost, replied Dr. Song. Just the overmind left. It should die within hours. When the overmind finally fell silent, the planet seemed to exhale. The gray slime that had covered half the world began to crystallize and crumble. The biostructures collapsed into glittering dust. Admiral O addressed his fleet. The Nethrix species is extinct. Belkos Prime is free. We have accomplished our mission. Admiral Kang Hana stood on her bridge watching the edge of space. 6 weeks had passed since Earth promised help. Her fleet was down to 8 ships now. The Nethrix had taken 2 more continents. Admiral, called Officer Yim Seojun. Hyperspace. Signatures detected. Multiple contacts incoming. Kang Hana expected to see 12 human ships, maybe 20 if Earth was generous. What emerged from hyperspace made her step backward in shock. 200 human warships materialized in perfect formation. They were bigger than she expected, covered in weapon ports that glowed with deadly energy. The largest ship was massive, easily twice the size of her flagship. Are those all human ships? Yim Seojun asked in amazement. Yes, Kang Hana whispered. All of them. The human fleet spread out across space like a metal wall. Each ship bristled with weapons she did not recognize. Strange devices hung from their hulls like alien growths. Then the lead ship sent a message. But it was not to the Velkari. Attention Nethrix forces, said a cold human voice. This is Fleet, Admiral Oh Sung-ho of the United Earth Space Navy. You have consumed worlds full of children. For this crime, your species is sentenced to extinction. There will be no negotiation. There will be no mercy. Prepare to die. Kang Hana felt a chill run down her spine. The human admiral had not even said hello to her. He spoke only to pronounce death on an entire species. Should we respond to the human fleet? Asked Yim Seojun. No, Kang Hana said quietly. I think we should stay out of their way. On the UES Retribution, Fleet Admiral Oh Seung-ho studied tactical displays. His ship's sensors could see everything. In the Velkos system, what they showed made his jaw tighten with anger. Report, he ordered. Captain Nam Hyejin, His intelligence officer pointed to the holographic display. The Nethrix have consumed the northern continent completely. They have built a massive breeding facility there. We estimate millions of larvae feeding on processed Velkari biomass. Admiral O studied the images. Giant biostructures covered the land like cancer. Streams of gray slime moved between them, carrying dissolved organic matter to feed young Nethrix. Population count? He asked. Approximately 50 million adult Nethrix on the planet. Unknown number of larvae. The bioships in orbit contain another 10 million. Admiral O nodded. And Velkari survivors? Maybe 2 million left. Most are in the southern cities. The Nethrix are keeping some alive as fresh food storage. The bridge went quiet. Everyone understood what that meant. The Nethrix were keeping people alive so they could eat them slowly, piece by piece. Sir, said Commander Shin Woo-jin, the Velkari are trying to contact us. Later, Admiral O replied. First, we study our enemy. Captain Nam sent stealth ships closer to Velkos Prime. The Silent Death, commanded by Captain Min Sora, used advanced cloaking to get within scanning range of Nethrix positions. What Captain Min saw through her ship's cameras made her sick. The breeding facility was worse than they imagined. Millions of crystal larvae swam in pools of liquefied Velkari civilians. Adult Nethrix tended them like farmers caring for crops. Get me everything, Captain Min ordered her crew. I want to know how they move, how they think, how they die. For 3 days, the human fleet watched and learned. They mapped every Nethrix position. They studied their bioships. They analyzed their communication networks. Dr. Song Jiwon worked in the medical bay of the hospital ship Mercy's Edge. She had captured several Nethrix specimens during scouting missions. Now she cut them apart to understand how they worked. The creatures were beautiful in a terrible way. Their crystal shells reflected light like prisms. Their internal structure was perfect, designed by millions of years of evolution to be the ultimate predator. Fascinating, Dr. Song said as she examined a Nethrix brain. They share thoughts through bioelectrical networks. Perfect coordination, but also a perfect weakness. Her assistant, Dr. Lee Min-ju, looked puzzled. Weakness? If we can disrupt their network, they become confused. And if we can cause pain, to one, we cause pain to all of them. Dr. Song smiled coldly. They have never felt pain before. This will be quite a shock. On the 4th day, Admiral Kang Hana received permission to visit the human flagship. She took a small shuttle to the UES Retribution. The human ship was bigger than some space stations. Its corridors hummed with energy from weapons she had never seen. Marines in powered armor stood guard at every junction. Admiral O met her in his ready room. He was older than she expected, with gray hair and hard eyes. Behind him hung a flag showing Earth from space. Admiral Kang, O said politely. Thank you for waiting. We needed time to understand our enemy. Admiral O, Kang replied. I am grateful that Earth answered our plea. When will rescue operations begin? Admiral O was quiet for a moment. Admiral, you misunderstand our purpose here. We are not conducting rescue operations. Then what? We are conducting an extermination operation. We will save your people, but only after we ensure that every single Nethrix is dead. Not captured, not defeated, dead. Kang Hana felt cold fear. Every single one? That is genocide. Yes, Admiral O said simply. It is. But surely some can be captured for study, or confined to prevent. No. Admiral O's voice was final. The Nethrix have proven what they are. They eat children. They dissolve families alive. They cannot be reasoned with, contained, or reformed. They can only be destroyed. Kang Hana looked into the human admiral's eyes. She saw no hatred there, no anger, only cold determination. Is this how humans always solve problems? She asked. No, Admiral O replied. This is how we solve problems that threaten children. Your people called for help. We came, but we will do this our way. Admiral O stood and walked to his window. Below them, Velkos Prime spun slowly, half covered in gray slime from Nethrix feeding. In 6 hours we begin the extermination, he said. I suggest your ships move to safe distance. What will you do first? Kang Hana asked. Admiral O turned back to her. For the first time, she saw something like sadness in his eyes. Something we will hate ourselves for, he said, but something that must be done. Kang Hana returned to her ship with a heavy heart. She had called for help, and help had come. But this was not the kind of help she had imagined. The humans had not come as rescuers. They had come as executioners. Admiral, Yim Seojin asked when she returned. What are the humans planning? Total war, she replied. They mean to kill every Nethrix in the system. All of them? Is that even possible? Kang Hana thought about Admiral O's cold eyes. I think the humans have done impossible things before. On the UES Retribution, Admiral O addressed his fleet commanders. Gentlemen, ladies, he said, in 1 hour we begin the extinction of the Nethrix species. Each of you knows your orders. Each of you understands what we are about to become. History will judge us harshly for what we do today. He paused, looking at each captain on the communication screen. But if history judges us as monsters for protecting children, then I accept that judgment. Begin preparations for Grey Swarm deployment. Across the human fleet, weapons came online. In the cargo bays, containers of nanobots were loaded into launch tubes. In the bioweapons labs, viral agents designed to cause maximum suffering were prepared for deployment. Captain Min Sora prepared her bomber squadron. Remember, she told her pilots, we are not heroes today. We are necessary monsters. The galaxy will fear us after this, but the children of the galaxy will be safe. Dr. Yoon Tae-hyun made final adjustments to his Grey Swarm nanobots. Each one was programmed to seek out Nethrix DNA and rewrite it slowly, causing maximum pain before death. Are you ready to watch a species die? Dr. Song asked him. Are you ready? To save 2 million lives? He replied. The human fleet moved into attack position. Below them, 50 million Nethrix went about their feeding, unaware that their evolution was about to end. Admiral O gave the final order. All ships, commence genocide for the children of Velkos Prime. The gray containers opened and death fell like rain toward the planet below. General Lee Daeho walked into the most secret room on Earth. Deep under Seoul, behind doors that could stop nuclear bombs, the greatest minds of humanity gathered. They were here to plan something terrible. Gentlemen, ladies, General Lee said, we are not going to rescue the Velkari. We are going to destroy the Nethrix completely, forever. Dr. Song Ji-won opened her briefcase. Inside were files marked with red warnings. I have been studying ways to kill the Nethrix for 3 days. What I found will work, but what? Asked Captain Na Kyung-min. But it violates every rule of war the galaxy has ever made, Dr. Song said quietly. These weapons don't just kill. They cause suffering beyond imagination. General Lee looked around the room. The Nethrix eat children alive. They dissolve families with acid. They turn entire worlds into food. Do we care about their suffering? Nobody answered. The silence was heavy. I thought not, General Lee continued. Dr. Song, show us everything. Dr. Song activated a hologram. It showed molecular structures and biological diagrams. The Nethrix share a bioelectrical network. They think as one mind. This is their strength, but also their weakness. She pressed a button. The hologram changed to show weapon designs. I have created nano-plague bombs. They target the Nethrix nervous system. The creatures will feel pain for the first time in their evolution, and because they share thoughts, one Nethrix feeling pain means all of them feel it. Captain Na studied the designs. He was Earth's best soldier, but this made him uncomfortable. How much pain? Imagine every nerve in your body burning at once, Dr. Song said. Now imagine feeling that pain from 1 million other bodies at the same time. That is what this weapon will do. The room was quiet again. These were good people planning evil things. There is more, Dr. Song continued. Bio-acid bombs that turn their crystal shells into acid that eats them from inside, sonic weapons that shatter their communication networks, and neural disruptors that make them attack each other. General Lee nodded. Good. But we need more than weapons. We need someone who understands forbidden science. I already contacted him, Dr. Song said. Dr. Yoon Tae-hyun is coming back from Pluto. Captain Na looked surprised. The war criminal? He was exiled for what he did on Titan. What he did on Titan was create the most terrifying weapons in human history, General Lee replied. Now we need them. 3 days later, a small ship landed at the secret base. Dr. Yoon Tae-hyun stepped out. He was older now with gray hair and tired eyes. He had spent 10 years alone on Pluto thinking about the weapons he had made. General Lee, Dr. Yoon said, I assume you need something that normal weapons cannot do. We need to kill an entire species, General Lee replied. Completely. Leave nothing alive. Dr. Yoon was quiet for a moment. That is genocide. Yes, General Lee said. Can you do it? Dr. Yoon thought about the videos from Velkos Prime. Children running from crystal monsters. Families dissolved alive. Yes, I can do it. He opened his old files. Weapons that had been banned before they were ever used. Designs so terrible that even humans had been afraid to build them. The Gray Swarm, Dr. Yoon said. Nanobots that rewrite DNA at the molecular level. They can be programmed to target specific species. The Nethrix will dissolve from the inside out. How long does it take? Asked Captain Na. Days. Very painful days. The nanobots work slowly so the victim understands what is happening to them. Dr. Song looked at the designs. This is monstrous. Yes, Dr. Yoon agreed. But the Nethrix chose to be monsters first. We are simply answering in their own language. While the scientists planned weapons, Captain Na prepared soldiers. The best fighters from every human colony came to Earth. They trained in ways to kill creatures that felt no fear. Remember, Captain Na told his Marines, the Nethrix are not like other enemies. They do not surrender. They do not negotiate. They exist only to consume. Your job is to make sure they stop existing. Sergeant Kang Min-soo raised his hand. Sir, what about Velkari civilians? Save who you can, Captain Na replied. But if you must choose between killing a Nethrix and saving a Velkari, kill the Nethrix. We cannot risk even one of them escaping to threaten another world. The training was brutal. Marines learned to fight in bioships that tried to digest them. They practiced using weapons that caused terrible pain. They prepared their minds for genocide. On Luna, the weapons factories worked without stopping. Every day, more terrible devices rolled off the production lines. Biobombs, sonic disruptors, molecular acids, and neural scramblers. Worker Kim Tae-jin welded components for a bioacid bomb. He knew what it would do to living things. Are we the bad guys now? He asked his partner. The Nethrix eat children, replied Worker Park Seobin. That makes them the bad guys. We are just making sure they cannot eat any more children. On Mars, Fleet Admiral Oh Seung-ho inspected his ships. 200 vessels, each armed with humanity's deadliest weapons. He walked through the UES Retribution, his flagship. In the weapons bay, he saw rows of gray swarm containers. Admiral, said his aide, Commander Shin Woo-jin, are you sure about this? Once we use these weapons, there is no going back. The Nethrix made that choice for us when they started eating people. Admiral O replied. We are not starting a war. We are finishing one. President Kim Yoon made a speech to the human fleet before they left. You carry humanity's answer to those who prey on the innocent, she said. The galaxy thinks we are primitive and violent. Today we will prove them right. But we will also prove that sometimes violence is the only language monsters understand. The Kioi fleet prepared to leave. In the cargo holds were weapons banned by 17 galactic treaties. In the medical bays were soldiers trained to commit genocide. In the command centers were officers who had accepted that they would become war criminals to save children. Dr. Park Min-ho sent one last message to the Galactic Council. We offered to work within your laws, the message said. You chose to let children die instead. Now we will work outside your laws. The Nethrix will be extinct in 2 months. Any species that tries to stop us will join them. The alien ambassadors were horrified. They sent urgent messages to their homeworlds. The humans were coming, and they were bringing weapons that could destroy entire species. "This is madness," said the Altarian ambassador. "They cannot simply exterminate another species." "Watch us," replied Ambassador Choi. The human fleet entered hyperspace. Behind them, Earth continued building weapons. Ahead of them, the Velkari struggled to survive one more day. And somewhere in the darkness between stars, the Nethrix continued eating, unaware that extinction was coming for them. Dr. Yoon sat in his cabin on the UES Retribution. He looked at the weapon designs on his computer. The gray swarm would cause unimaginable suffering. The bioacid bombs would dissolve creatures from the inside. The neural disruptors would drive them insane before they died. He had created perfect tools for genocide, and he felt no guilt about it. "They should have left the children alone," he whispered to the darkness. 6 weeks to Velkos Prime, 6 weeks to prepare the end of the Nethrix species, 6 weeks for humanity to become the monsters the galaxy needed them to be. Admiral Kang Hana stood on the bridge of her dying ship. Through the cracked windows, she could see her homeworld burning. The blue skies of Velkos Prime had turned black with smoke. Giant creatures moved across the surface like hungry shadows. Freud Nethrix had come 6 months ago. They arrived in ships that looked like living things. These ships ate everything they touched: buildings, trees, people. Nothing was safe. The Nethrix turned it all into food for their young. Kang Hana's fleet once had 300 ships. Now she had 12. The rest were gone, eaten by the crystal monsters that came from deep space. Her people were dying, and nobody in the galaxy cared. "Admiral," said her young officer Yim Seojun. "The last transmission from the surface just stopped." Kang Hana closed her eyes. Another city was gone. Another million lives lost. The Velkari were a peaceful people. They had no weapons that could hurt the Nethrix. Their technology was meant for building, not fighting. "Admiral, what are your orders?" Yim Seojun asked. Kang Hana looked at the star map. Every ally had abandoned them. The Galactic Council said they were monitoring the situation. The Altarians called it natural selection. The other species were too afraid to help. But there was one planet on the map that nobody talked about: Earth. The humans lived there. Most aliens thought humans were primitive and violent. They lived on a death world full of poison and predators. The Galactic Council barely accepted them as members. "Send a message to Earth," Kang Hana said. "Admiral?" Yim Seojun looked confused. "The humans, but they are so far away and they are different." Kang Hana watched another Nethrix bioship land on her planet. It began eating a forest, turning the green trees into gray slime. "We have no choice. Send them everything. Show them what the Nethrix are doing to us." On Earth, Dr. Park Min-ho was working late at the Seoul Deep Space Array. He studied alien languages and tried to understand messages from other worlds. Most days were quiet. Tonight was different. The quantum receiver started screaming. Emergency signals filled the room with red light. Park Min-ho ran to his station and began reading the incoming data. What he saw made him sick. The message came from the Velkari Empire. It contained video files that showed creatures eating entire cities. The aliens in the videos looked like walking crystals with too many teeth. They dissolved people alive with acid. They fed the remains to their young. "Please," said a voice in the message. It was Admiral Kang Hana. "We beg for aid. Our children are dying. We have nowhere else to turn. Please help us." Park Min-ho saved the files and called his boss. Then his boss called the military. Soon the message reached President Kim Yuna in the Blue House. President Kim watched the videos 3 times. Each time made her more angry. She had seen war before, but this was different. This was extinction. The Nethrix were not conquering. They were eating. "How many Velkari are left?" she asked General Lee Daeho. "Maybe 3 million, according to their estimates," the general replied. "The Nethrix have consumed 12 planets already. Billions are dead." "And the Galactic Council?" General Lee's face was hard. "They voted to observe. No action. Ambassador Choi says most species are too afraid to fight the Nethrix." President Kim thought about this. Humans were new to the galaxy. Most aliens looked down on them. They called Earth a death world and humans violent primitives. But now those same aliens were dying and nobody would help them. What does our military analysis say about the Nethrix? President Kim asked. Dr. Song Jiwon, the head of Earth's Biological Warfare Division, stepped forward. They are a hive mind, Madam President. They share thoughts through bioelectrical networks. They feel no pain and show no fear. They are perfect. Predators. Perfect? President Kim raised an eyebrow. Almost perfect, Dr. Song smiled coldly. Their strength is also their weakness. If we can disrupt their network, they become confused, and they have never fought humans before. President. Kim looked at the video again. Velkhari children were running from crystal monsters. Some were caught. Some were dissolved alive. She made her decision. Prepare our fleets, she said. All of them. Madam President, General Lee looked surprised. That would be the largest military action in human history. Are you sure? The Velkhari asked for help. We will answer. President Kim stood up. These Nethrix think they can eat children, and nobody will stop them. They are wrong. On Velkos Prime, Admiral Kang Hana waited. Her people were dying faster each day. The Nethrix had taken the northern continent and were building something huge there. Her scout said it looked like a breeding ground. Any response from Earth? She asked. Nothing yet, Admiral, Yim Seojin replied. It has only been 2 days. Kang. Hana nodded. She did not expect much from the humans. They were far away and had no reason to help, but she had to try. Her people deserved that much. 3 days later, a message came from Earth. It was short and simple. Admiral Kang Hana of the Velkhari Defense Fleet. This is President Kim Yuna of Earth. We have received your plea for aid. Help is coming. Hold your position. Do not surrender. We are on our way. Kang Hana read the message again. The humans were coming. She did not know what to expect. Human ships were small compared to other species. Their technology was newer and less tested. But they were coming. Broadcast this message to all Velkhari, she ordered. Help is coming from Earth. We are not alone. On Earth, every shipyard was working day and night. The Luna factories built weapons. The Mars colonies sent their fleets. Even the asteroid miners donated their ships. Dr. Yoon Tae-hyun came out of exile on Pluto. He brought blueprints for weapons that broke galactic law. Nobody cared about laws anymore. The Nethrix had changed everything. Ambassador Choi sent one. Last message to the Galactic Council. You chose to watch while children died. We choose to act. Effective immediately, Earth withdraws from all galactic treaties. We will save the Velkhari, and we will make sure the Nethrix never threaten anyone again. The alien ambassadors were shocked. They had expected humans to send a small rescue force. Instead, Earth was preparing for war. This is madness, said the Altarian ambassador. The Nethrix cannot be defeated. They are too strong. Then you will watch us do the impossible, Choi replied. Again, President Kim addressed the human fleet as it prepared to leave. 200 ships, filled with Earth's best soldiers and deadliest weapons. The Velkhari called for help. We answered, the galaxy will remember this day. They will remember that when innocent people are dying, humans do not hesitate, we do not debate. We act. Fleet Admiral Oh Seung-ho commanded the largest human fleet ever assembled. His flagship, the UES Retribution, led the way into hyperspace. The journey to Velkos Prime would take 6 weeks. 6 weeks for the Velkhari to survive. 6 weeks for humanity to prepare for something the galaxy thought impossible. The humans were coming, and they were bringing extinction with them.